And we are back.
Hello.
It's Saturday for another episode of the mini tarot series journey, where we take you on the magical journey and definitions of the major arcanas and give you our perspective as experienced tarot readers and how you can apply them to your everyday life or maybe into your own readings. My name is Katarina.
My name is Sabrina. And welcome to the Hierophant.
We are the Hierophant today,
which is a Taurus. Rock on. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the upright when the card is like this and when the card is reversed within a tarot reading, but also in real life. And we're going to look at all the aspects of our life, like love, work, finances, and family, and see where the Hierophant like this or like that can affect you in your life.
For those listening on the podcast, she did a reverse or upright.
Oh, right. Sorry. So,
don't apologize.
Upright Hierophant. When I see Hierophant in a reading, it's a very interesting thing because there's a lot of different interpretations of decks right now. So this is the original Rider-Waite, which where you see here. If you don't see it. I'm showing the Hierophant card, and it's a bishop with these two cardinals at the bottom. He's wearing all red, which is that powerful color of like a foundational color.
Yeah.
And he has a crown on his head and he has pillars behind. It's very structured.
Yeah.
Like the keys, he has keys at the bottom of his feet, like the keys to your wisdom. Like it also speaks of education, but it's very rigid. And I want to show you this because I brought out other decks. I brought out the Lightseer, actually all Chris Ann's decks. Lightseer, Curious Creatures, and
Local Canadian.
And the Muse. Yeah. And if you see the way she depicts the Hierophant, it's like this jolly man with a stairway to heaven, and behind him, there's a llama dressed in aerobic gear on a like old ghetto blaster, and then there's this naked woman, I believe she's a woman, right? Yeah. And she's perched on a high stone, and it just like feels very more spiritual as opposed to the rigidity of the religion here.
Yeah.
So it could be an evolution as well, because we are evolving spiritually, and this doesn't reflect everybody anymore.
Or the new society
or the new
entering in and have been creating, and we're kind of moving away from that very structured, very rigid. But on the same time, the Hierophant, that's what it kind of represents as well.
Yeah.
When you pull it in a card, it could mean that maybe you're being too structured, maybe you're missing structure, maybe there is you're following too many rules, because it really applies to tradition, the traditional way of doing things. So sometimes it could apply that maybe you're stepping out too much out of the tradition and you're kind of lost your way, or it could be the opposite. Maybe you're too structured, you're too rigid in your programming or the way you think. You're not open-minded enough to actually step into something new, right? So,
but there's also the aspect of education, like kind of mentorship, looking like an authority,
it's kind of like an authority.
Like an authority, but like also someone that you trust to expand your knowledge, right? Or your wisdom. And this is like typically within the church, right? That's you go to your bishop, you go to your priest, you go to your rabbi, you go to your swami, whatever, your guru, for that additional guidance. And in this case, it's like, do you really need to go to someone else, or maybe you need to go within yourself, that you have that inner wisdom? So there's like these two kind of aspects I find with all the decks that are showing up, and also because like you said, we're evolving. So this is what's happening. And Taurus, it's a Taurus energy, right? It's
it's also very structured, very foundation, very rooted in the way rooted in what they know.
Like fixed, and like
it can be a little stubborn.
Yes. I don't know. And it's a number 5, the Hierophant. 5 is extreme. So they can be extremists. And if you know any Taurians like me, we can be extremists. We're like, yeah, or absolutely no, or black and white. You know, there's that possibility, which is very much religion, right? Like, no, you can't do this, and you know, very like it's repressed structure. But then I like that this shows a little bit of openness here. These cards are like, yeah, just have fun and be aerobics and like be flexible a little bit more about your
open-minded, about the way you get your information, because exactly that, the bishop has the keys to the wisdom. To it's kind of he is the divine counterpart of the high priestess as well. So she's usually all ethereal and very void, very feminine energy. He's the opposite. He's masculine. He has the keys to the kingdom, which is the information, but for some reason he feels like he needs to earn it. He needs to build these structures. He needs to follow these rules to get to the information that he wants to get to. So, and then obviously there's pros and cons to both, and we'll get to the reversals.
But he's like also the structures of marriage. Yeah. You know, they like it's a bishop, but it's a priest or whoever marries you in your religion kind of thing. And it's that kind of traditional ceremony, traditional. Nothing, no anti anything here. Let's not bring up those topics.
We'll try.
And
limitations, you know, it's not even about the religion, it's just how limited it is. Because if you look at anything that says this is the only way, it's you're back in the box.
Yeah.
And we're not designed to be in a box. And this is kind of what he represents. It's like that box structure. And sometimes you need to break free from it, especially when it's in the reversal. It's usually going against the norm, going against that
rebelling against it.
Well, it could be rebelling, or it could just be, this is not for me.
Resisting. Like
going out of the path of most traveled, right? Going on the path less traveled. So
off the beaten path. When he's in reverse, like you're not exactly, you're not following the rules, you're not following the guidelines, like you're a bit like us kind of thing, right? But there's also people like us that do follow within the spiritual guidelines as well. Like you can't wear black and you have to wear white and you have to do blah 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 blah, right?
Letter box, exactly,
which we talked about in our mirror
on Wednesday.
So it's, to me, the Hierophant, it's interesting. As a Taurus, I was always irked by this guy here. Like every time I'd see him, I was like, I can't believe he represents
pointing at the Pope.
Me. Absolutely not, right? Like I was like, no, I don't feel like a pope or a bishop or a cardinal or anything of that sort, because that feels very constrictive for me. Feels like you do or you die kind of thing, right? Or you're evil, or like it's fully polarized here.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys, I was like, these guys are like, oh, look at this Hierophant. He's happy-go-lucky. He's like very calmly in a lotus pose, but very calm, right? Yeah. And there's like a stairway to heaven kind of in the back of him, very
just enlightened,
but chill.
It's like the information's coming to him, basically.
Because he's got it, and he's not forcing, which I feel like this is a force on him. And perhaps that was some of us, many of us, when we were younger, where we forced our opinions and belief systems, right? When we thought that was the way to be, because we saw our parents who were very like stuck in their belief system. So we were like emulated them, and we're like, okay, well, I'm this. And you're like, why? Well, because my parents are, right? And it's like, but why? And it's that moment when you're like in your late teens or your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, whenever you come out and you're like, no, I'm not. And then that's that rebel against the family, right? Because that's what this is, family structure. Yeah. And it's like, where do you come from, right? Yeah. And then it's that inner struggle that happens. And that's the 5, where's that extreme, like, oh my God, I'm weird, or I'm out of, like, all my whole family is going to look at me like I'm like, or they're going to reject me, or I'm the black sheep. How many times have you heard that? That's the kind of the Hierophant energy, right? That like you want to kind of follow your family, but then no, right?
Yeah,
you resist it.
Depending on
It's like you're
what
like
area.
bipolar. You're bipolar, basically.
Depending on what phase in your life you are, depending on what's going on with you, it could be one of two things. Maybe you should be rebelling, or maybe you kind of need to put a little structure because now you're a little too chaotic. You're a little all over the place, and the structure might actually help you realign your vision, realign your values, realign towards where you and who you truly are. And that's the thing, is finding that balance, right? Finding that middle ground in some occasions. So the Pope, if he shows up in your readings, could be, maybe you don't have enough structure, and that's why you're a little all over the place and you're kind of lost in where you're going. Or it could be the absolute opposite. Maybe you're not open-minded enough to actually really truly tap into who you are, because you're just following somebody else's plan. You're just following somebody else's structure. You're following somebody else's vision.
Because you didn't know better, or you just, it was easier,
didn't know better. You didn't want to be shunned, right? You didn't want to, you love your family. And that's the thing. We all love our families. And sometimes we don't want to be that black sheep, but sometimes you need to be that black sheep to have that family evolve and grow. Or the opposite, right? Maybe you've been that black sheep for so long that you're no longer a black sheep, but you're kind of losing yourself, and maybe coming back to family, coming back to something a little more traditional will help you just realign some of the chaotic energy, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like it's like the educational system. You go to school, you trust like what the information that's coming in, right? You trust it as to be real, to true, whatever. And then at one point, some of you might go like, why is it's not important for us to have this information? And then you rebel, right, against this structure that like 90% of the population is very following, and you're like, hello. And then that's where it begins. But this is the whole, like the fool. This is the fool gets to the Hierophant and is like a little confused perhaps at this point, right? Do I left my family to go on my own journey, and I get to the Hierophant. The Hierophant's like, yo, you should go backwards now, right? And so the Hierophant is like, the fool is like, I don't think so, honey. I'm going to continue my journey, and onto the Lover's card. But like, so there's a lot of this happening. This is interesting. It's almost like a prison guard.
You can see a prison
like
guard.
A border, like a customs border.
Yeah, I guess so.
You come in and you have to follow our rules, or you go back, kind of thing. And then what if I want to come in and actually break all the rules? I want to do that quietly. I'll tell them,
Yeah, definitely.
It
could definitely be that. Or it could also just be an opportunity where the fool comes in and they're like, okay, I saw the benefits in structuring this part of my life, but not this one. And then I saw the benefits of categorizing and kind of putting certain things in boxes, but I also saw the benefits in going outside the boxes, right? It's that
the happy medium.
Happy medium of, once you get to the 5, it's like, okay, there's a lot of chaos, number 5. So how do I go through the chaos? How will I decide to go through the chaos? Am I going to add more structure, or am I going to go against it? And then you go on to the Lovers, which is usually a decision making, which is the ultimate decision, amongst other things too. But we'll get to that next week.
Yeah. So in love, if we see the Hierophant, and let's say you're asking about love and you see the Hierophant, then obviously you know that, for me right away, I'm like, well, you might be getting married. You might be partnering with someone, or you might, like, it'll be definitely like a traditional, more coming together, right?
Yeah.
If you see it in like this,
reversed,
then it could be that you're gonna stay, you're gonna live it with someone and not be married. It's not gonna be a conventional way of relationship, or it's you like single. Like all the way.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right. Or you're just not interested in
any kind of
structure within your love
relationship. That's true. And then work.
And in work, well, work is, I guess, mentorship.
Yeah. You were saying
And
that,
structures. And
like your career is pretty much set, right? You're following this one career path, which is a good thing if it's taking you where you need to go. And then if it's reversed, usually to me in a work career path would be you're probably going to take the road less traveled, meaning that you're probably going to go independently. You're probably not going to be working for a big company. Like upright, it's probably going to be, are you going to be working
like
for corporations, exactly, stuff that's already like built in, structured, government, exactly. Reverse is probably entrepreneur, freelance, yeah.
Or you could be like working as a freelancer, consulting within the corporation, maybe. Since it is but you're not going to like it's 9 to 5 is just not it for you. It. This is 9 to 5 and the other way is not. So, and I was telling her, I was like, the more when I was like, we were researching for Hierophant and we were talking about it, I was like, I think I've become the reverse of the Hierophant 1000%.
Which is perfect for you.
And finances is a great thing when you see the Hierophant, because that means like whatever it's a good time for investments. And if you've done investments or real estate, whatever, like there's a good potential for growth with the Hierophant, because it's again very and it's actually maybe a good time to invest in stocks or shares or whatever into companies that are big. But when you see it in reverse, it's like
maybe take that, yoga training that you were thinking about, maybe take that little adventure and spillage on something that's not conventional or that's off of your career path, right? Or
like a different way of making money. Like she's saying, like maybe exactly right. Maybe you're not meant to live in that corporate way. Maybe you're not going to have that pension plan or that everybody else thinks that you should. Maybe you're just going to be like nomad, traveling, whatever, right? And making money. So there's always a good, like there's always something interesting to come out of it. That, like, when people see reversals, they're like, oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. No, this is just a resistance to the norms. Right. And all the cards, you see a reversal, you're like, you're resisting love or you're resisting the devil or whatever it is. Right. As far as family, it's pretty clear. It's like
traditional
shared belief systems, traditional coming together. And if you see this, then like you're
non-conventional.
Rebelling.
You're rebelling. Or maybe just your family structure is non-conventional too, right?
Or it's just not working out for you. It's not like it's not in your best interest to follow that kind of rules at this moment in time. You could ask a lot of questions, like should I, like, you don't have to reject your family, but maybe you're not aligning with your family right now, but it's okay. Stepping away from it.
Exactly.
Go to church and make a confession. I'm just kidding.
Or don't.
I'm just kidding.
Or don't.
Or do whatever you
want.
Or do. Whatever.
Church can be really beautiful too. It can be a beautiful thing depending on your perspective.
Yeah, I was watching some guru. Speaking of gurus, and it wasn't guru. It was Alan Watts, and he was saying about this really interesting thing. He goes, do you notice how in the church they make you line up in pews and rows, and everyone is facing the altar, right? So you as a attendee have a back towards you, and you have many backs depending on where you are in your thing. But if you go to why is it so structured, right? Why is it so Hierophant like? Why does it have to be like this way? And if someone steps out of the line, then they're like, everybody looks at them, it's not comfortable. That it's like, why can't we just do whatever the hell we want?
There's also putting somebody in a pedestal. Putting someone in a pedestal, and everybody's watching and everybody's listening to this one person. So it's very structured. It's very strategic the way it's done as well. It's not like
authoritative.
It's not like the indigenous ways of creating circles where everybody's in a circle, which represents that everybody's equal in that circle as well, right? So pay attention to those little like nuances.
But also like circles are a bit rigid. Like to me, why can't I just sit wherever I want to sit?
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about structures right now. But and it's also like that makes a good point in terms of the Hierophant gone wrong, where the authority can be very controlling, right? Where might have a boss. Let's say in a reading, your boss might be the one that's what's that word I'm looking for? Not controlling,
demanding,
but corrupted. He could be corrupted. They could be just a very good person. Manipulative. Exactly. It kind of goes back to the emperor energy.
And the emperor and the Hierophant go really well together.
Yeah.
In certain ways.
Like the overuser power, right? Overuse of a power. Going back to that, there's a reason why it's structured. You're putting someone on a pedestal. He's being put or she's being put on a pedestal, and not in a good way. I mean, nobody should be put in a pedestal because it's just like an illusion. But yeah. So
I want you to tell me to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the devil.
Now we're going to find the Hierophant and then give a little mini interpretation. And then we'll give you guys your takeaways.
Yeah. So the Hierophant, we're going to give you the before and the after, or the past and the future, or what was, what's coming. And in typical Sabrina fashion, it's at the other end of the deck. So it's like a joke that my higher spirit self and my spirits have with me, literally at the total end of the deck. Hilarious.
We can
nowhere, not even anywhere. Okay.
I could tell you some
you can
of the
tell
takeaways,
the takeaways while I do this.
So how can I find balance between following tradition and seeking spiritual growth? So how can I find, they're both kind of spiritual practices, but how can I balance out the more rigid way versus the more flow way, right? And then the second takeaway would be, where am I being too rigid in my belief systems?
That's a good one to
Where in my belief systems am I being a little too rigid, a little too controlling, not open-minded enough, right? And it could be anything. It could be in regards to family. It could be in regards to money, job, love. Where am I not allowing kind of uncertainty in or flow in, right? So let me just hold it.
It's so annoying. All right. So the before is the Lovers.
And the Lovers in this card, you have two lovebirds holding each other. Kind of look like they're
goldfish, no?
Huh?
Oh, they're budgies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're goldfish. All right. Wow. And the second, and this is like amazing card, the Hierophant and the Two of Cups.
Oh, wow.
Like the dolphin.
That's like marriage to me.
That's marriage right away. Like if someone was asking about love, we'd be like, wow, like you're going to get married.
The Lovers is a decision. It's a commitment, is love. And then you have the Two of Cups. So that's just
soulmate energy. Soulmate energy. A union, a blessed union.
Yeah. Right? And then you have the marriage card in
the middle. And if we were talking about work, I'd say the same thing. Maybe it's a business partnership, but if you're coming together and maybe with the lover, the six is like you have you're like, let's say me and Katarina, we're good, like we're friends that are developing our friendship, right? As we are business partners. But if we see this, it's like, oh my God, your partnership is going to take on a new level. You're up leveling.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever. Like you were meant to be together.
Yeah.
In this partnership.
Yeah.
And as if I see this in finance, everything works. Yeah. Everything here is like bing, bang, boom. Like it's amazing. But let's just say for shits, it's all reversed. And we'll keep the Hierophant up, right? So to look at this in reverse, it means to me that there's like a disconnect within the relationship. Already it started out as a Lover's card. You're already fighting within the relationship. There's a quarreling. There's like maybe you were lovers you were going out for the longest time, and now you find yourself here and it's just not working out. And perhaps it's going to see a marriage counselor.
Because there's the disharmony, right? Because they're both in reverse. You have the Lover's card, and then you have the Two of Cups, which is soulmate energy, but in reverse, meaning that there's just misalignment there. So yeah, definitely a therapist would be, or a second party, or somebody that has more experience, or even you were saying also at a point where it could also represent that maybe it's a divorce. Maybe that you need somebody has more professional experience to really break the foundation in a way that will support the family, or just find that equal balance, right?
And it's almost like we're talking love here, but I mean, I think it's everything together, because it could be that you're fighting all the time, and you're trying really hard to stay married. You're going to stay married because you don't believe in divorce, because that's what your family limited belief system was. Divorce is bad, or it's according to your religion that it's like a no, you don't divorce. So we're going to stay in an unhappy marriage. And you know, a lot of people do that. Like, I'm going to stay because of the children. But in this case, your children are just not happy. Like it's like, why are you even there? Like, that's just an excuse for you not to go through with it, or just like to hold on to something that is like a belief system that's not working out for your whole family. So this is like a big no. Like, it's so interesting that these two cards came out for this. But it's like, here, I'll hold this for you now.
That's okay.
No,
but it comes back to what we're saying in one of our key takeaways. It goes back to, where are you being too rigid in your life? Which, like, what part of your life is your belief system too rigid and not able to actually open up, right? This would be a perfect example. Oh, well, we don't divorce. Traditionally, we have never divorced. Our family's like this. Or maybe you're somebody who divorces all the time. You know, it could be the opposite too. Maybe you're someone who always breaks up because you're too afraid to actually be in a relationship. Maybe that's something to explore as well, right? So
it's an interesting, like, obviously interesting take here, because it could also be, like she said, maybe there's a fear involved here of being in that relationship. So you run away, right? The Hierophant is like, you rebel against, kind of thing. But your choices have created like unhappy family structures or unhappy, you know, like some discord within the family, with the children. Maybe your bond with your kids is not so great because of the way you've handled your personal life, but that's okay, right? Because that's like, this is the reading. This is the reading.
It could be, maybe you do need more structure. Maybe you have to stop running away. Maybe you have to go back to traditions, because this is what's going to help balance out some of the chaos that's within, or some of the things that you've been avoiding about yourself too, right? Really interesting. I like that these two cards came up. And we're going to be seeing the Lover's card next week.
This
one
week.
over here next week. So just to repeat the last takeaways, which was, how could you find a balance between structure and flow? How could you imply it? How could you find it in your everyday life? And then, where are you being too rigid in your belief system?
Or are you rebelling against like, where are you rebelling? And are you rebelling for you? Or are you rebelling just to have your voice heard? Or like try to fully understand, like, that's what we're trying to do with these card readings every week, is to like kind of put ourselves in those positions, like, why am I doing this? Am I really doing it for me?
Or am I
doing it for my family? Am I doing it because my church tells me to? I'm telling it because my government leader says it? Or, you know, like, what are you doing?
Am I being manipulated by others, basically?
By the Emperor. That was right before this card. Go check that one out. All right. So this is where we leave you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, do you want to say something?
I was just going to add, like, meditate with the Hierophant. See what comes up for you also this week. Take it with you. If you have a deck of cards, if you're following with these major arcanas, take it and meditate with it and see what comes out for you. And then let us know in the comment section too. I would love to know that. And that's it.
All right. Are you more an upright or a reversed?
Yeah. And how could you find a balance between both, right? Because they're both, there's pros and cons in both, right? Anyway.
All right. Love you.
See my close face.
Bye.